Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Universal Magic with Jamie. I am Jamie, and I am really happy to be presenting this video to you. This time, we are actually talking about protection. I've decided to wait until our next video to talk about grounding because there's just so many things that we can talk about where protection is concerned. Now, the reason that I want to talk about this and the reason that this is such an important subject is because I have so many people who come to me and tell me that they're very interested in working with crystals, that they really want to work with tarot cards, which I have my set right here, my tarot cards, that they're very interested in working with pendulums, but they are very concerned about the fact of, well, what if I draw in negative energy? That is very much a concern, and it's not something that I just blow off or laugh at when people say that, because I understand how that feels. I personally won't go near Ouija boards. I don't like them. I'm not comfortable with them. I tend to stay very far away from those. This is something that you need to think about as you begin to follow a more spiritual or metaphysical path, is that you don't have to accept everything that is presented to you. This is something that's very, very important. You need to try things on and just really see what works for your soul and your energy and what doesn't. And if something doesn't work, don't worry about it. Leave it alone. This is something that I really stress to a lot of people, because when people first start down a medical physical path, they tend to just embrace it all. You don't have to do that. The whole idea is about filtering out what works for you and what doesn't. So if you feel like crystals or something, or pendulums is something that you feel very drawn to, well then of course read about it, study about it, learn about it, and then embrace it if it works for you. If it turns out it doesn't work for you, don't even worry about it. There's all kinds of different ways, so many different ways that you can express your own personal path to the metaphysical world and your own personal spirituality. So if something doesn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. But this idea of worrying about bringing in negative spirits, a couple of things I'd like to remind you about that. First of all, there is such a thing as law of attraction. And what we mean by the law of attraction is the idea of like attracting like, which actually is letting you know that the energy that you are sending out into the universe is the energy that you're bringing right back in to your life. So if you are working with your spirituality and on a metaphysical path, and you are keeping an incredibly positive attitude about it, and you are doing it out of love, if you are approaching people with kindness, that's what you're going to draw back to you. That's what you're going to draw back into your own energy. So it's really something to consider. First of all, if you're worried about negative energy, you need to take a strong look at yourself and really consider, what are you sending out into the world first? That's where intention comes into play. Intention is incredibly important. If you are intending to use tarot cards and you want to do readings for people, what is your intention for doing this? Now, something I'm a very big believer in. I have been reading tarot cards for an incredibly long time. I'm a very big believer in the fact that nobody should walk away from one of your readings feeling like they're going to step outside and be struck by lightning. What a horrible thing to put out there for somebody. So even if I have to tell someone something negative that may happen in their life with relationship or health or money, I always try to remind them that your life is in your hands. Your path is in your hands. You have the ability to bring into your life what you want in your life. You have the ability to manifest your life any way that you choose. So what I'm telling you is one option of what can happen with where your energy sits right now, but you're strong, you're capable, you can change it if you don't like it. So that's something, again, to really think about. What is the intention when you're talking to people about these things? It's a really important thing to consider. All right? Now, the other thing that I really want to stress to people is that I believe very much in protection. I believe that you can do things to protect yourself. And I think it's really important for you to do that. However, I don't believe in curses at all. Curses are something that I will not get into, I won't play with, I will never send bad energy out to someone else to cause them hurt or pain or failure. Remember, everybody, that like attracts like, and if you are sending negative energy out to somebody else, it's going to boomerang back on you. It's going to rebound back to you. There is such a thing in a lot of pagan Wiccan traditions that's known as the Law of Three. And what the Law of Three actually states is whatever energy you are sending out into the world comes back to you threefold. You're making things even worse for yourself. That's very true even when you're working with energy. Remember, whatever energy you are sending out into the world is energy that's going to come back to you or someone that you love in some form, because we all are connected by this amazing energy grid. So it's something we really have to think about. Don't do curses. Don't send out that negative energy, and you will not attract it back to you. Now, if you're still concerned about attracting negative energy, there are a couple of things that you can take a look at. Everybody, certain things that you can do. First of all, one of the things that I try to remind everybody is don't sit with negative energy. We all have moments and times where we're feeling depression, where we're feeling anxious. And that can happen because life can be difficult for everybody, and we all have moments of struggle. In those times, I think that a lot of times you have to go through those emotions. You have to feel those emotions. You have to express and release those emotions in order to get better, in order to move on. All right? But I also have people who come to my table when I'm doing readings who get very anxious about the idea of, I'm never going to find anybody. I'm never going to have a good relationship. Well, remember, again, the law of attraction, which we will have another big class on coming up very soon. Like attracting like. The universe is a mirror. If you are sitting there saying, I'm never going to find love, the universe is going to respond with, okay, you're never going to find love. So you've got to move that negative energy out. All right? The best way to move that negative energy is that at any time, if you are feeling just an overall sense of depression or anxiety, get up and move. Dance, exercise, run around the block, run around your home. That exercise, that movement is going to start burning off that excess energy. So exercise, run, dance, sing, scream out the top of your lungs. All of those things will work really well, and putting out or dissolving that negative energy, dispersing that negative energy, so you're not attracting more negative energy back to you. This is why sometimes people will go into the sense of one bad thing happening and then suddenly another bad thing happening and then suddenly another, because they got in this loop of everything bad happens to me. So the universe is saying, okay, everything bad for you, here you go. All right, so you got to get yourself out of that loop. That's one of the best ways to protect yourself, is don't sit with negative energy. Another way that you can dispel negative energy is through sound. Now, I know a lot of people who really love to use like tuning forks, bells, chimes. This is why it's so good to have like wind chimes hanging up around your home, because that really breaks up negative energy. So chimes, bells, tuning forks all work really well. For me personally, those sounds, I love those sounds. I think they're wonderful, but I prefer sounds of like drums or rattles or beating, all right, clapping. Those are sounds that seem like they help me better. And so I think it's really interesting, because I don't know why I don't really get into bells or chimes or anything like that, but I think it's because I tend to be very much an earth person. I'm such an earth person. That's the sound even of crystals knocking together, or I love that sound so much. That inspires me more than chimes. So you need to really take a look and see what works for you, what will dispel your negative energy so you're not attracting any more back to you, all right? But like I said, being an earth person, I love the sound of like a waterfall, but not just the water coming over, but the water hitting the stones and hitting the rocks and hitting the earth. Same like with rain. I love the sound of rain hitting the earth. But like I said, I'm just very much an earth person, and so those are the sounds that radiate with me, or resonate, resonate with me. And so you will find the sounds that really work for you as well too. Another way that you can move negative energy so you're not attracting any in, or if you think you have attracted negative energy in, of course using smudge sticks. And I think that a lot of people are finding out about those more. When you use a smudge stick, it's very good that you're pushing the energy or the smoke up into the corners of the room as well too. A lot of people, when they use smudge sticks to get rid of negative energy, they're sometimes standing in the middle of the room and just letting the smoke come up that way, but you need to get into the corners as well too, because if you are pushing energy out from the middle of your room, it's going to stick into the corners. So make sure that you're waving the smudge stick. This is why people will use a feather when they're burning a smudge stick too, is that they're pushing the smoke into the corners. Now, if you haven't worked with smudge sticks before, smudge sticks are just a bundle of herbs. Usually it's like white sage that works really well. Sage is wonderful for dispelling any negative energy or any spirits you don't want in your home. So using white sage is a beautiful thing to use. It's just a bundle of herbs that you are burning in your home. We will, again, have a class on all of this coming up really soon. So aromatherapy, again, is really good to use, especially using any kind of citrus or pine is a great way to clear your environment and clear out any negative energy that you think that you may have picked up. It's also a good idea to, when you're using a smudge stick, to run the smoke over your own physical being as a way of protecting yourself from any kind of negative energy. All right. Another thing, of course, that you can always do is prayer. Prayer is really important. Blessings on your home, blessings on your life, just saying prayers to the universe for protection. Call on Archangel or Saint Michael, same person. Archangel Michael or Saint Michael. Archangel Michael is protector angel. So if you are concerned and you really feel like you need protection, calling on that spirit, that angel, that entity will really help protect you. And ask Saint Michael, if you are feeling like you're being attacked in any way by a spirit or some other person, ask Archangel Michael to please cut those cords. And he will certainly help you with any negativity that may happen. All right. There is also a thing that you can do about thinking of yourself covered in white light. Picture your home, picture your car, picture your travels, your work, anything covered in white light. Especially a great thing to do is that if you are working in a place that seems like it's very negative, before you actually go into work, imagine that you are covered in a cloak of white light. And as you go into work, just imagine that any other person's negativity can't attack you. Anytime you may want to do a tarot reading for someone, imagine yourself covered in white light. If you are looking to go someplace where you feel uncomfortable, use that cloak of white light. Now, it's really funny because I've always talked about using white light for protection, and then I had someone say something the other day to me that I was like, why didn't I think about that? When you imagine yourself covered in this white light, when you are going into some place that's negative, before you leave, before you walk out the door of that place, imagine yourself taking that cloak off or taking that light off and leaving it in that space and leaving it in the building. So you don't have negativity that may not have touched you personally or touched your spirit, but has touched your cloak of white light. Make sure you're not taking that home with you. So just imagine that you are taking off that cloak before you leave that space. It's a very important thing for you to do. And I'm glad someone mentioned that to me one day. I kept forgetting to talk to people about that. And someone mentioned that the other day, and I'm so happy they did. Something else to think about, of course, candles are really good because any type of flame or smoke dispels negative energy and can protect you. Laughter. That is always the best thing. Whenever you can actually just sit down and if you're having a moment of feeling overwhelmed or feeling like this heavy energy or feeling like something's attached itself to you. One thing that I would suggest is going home and just putting on some silly comedy and just laughing yourself crazy, rolling on the floor laughing. Because again, that's positive energy, and that's going to dispel any negative energy or anything that may have attached itself to you that could be harmful to your spirit. All right? Making figure eights is considered very good. That's infinity sign, and what I think of is if I'm moving my hand in kind of a figure eight movement, or I can use both arms, I always think about this because remember when we said about how the energy moves through the chakras in our last video about how the energy is moving this way? So I always think about making these figure eight movements as a way of protecting myself from any kind of negative energy. Something else that's really good for you is sea salt. Now I have my piece of sea salt right here, and I usually carry this with me to any fairs I'm doing, classes I'm doing, workshops, any events, just because of the fact that sea salt is incredibly good. This is why you'll see a lot of people now have those Himalayan sea salt lamps around their homes, because not only is it giving out a beautiful glow of light, but it also is, sea salt is incredibly protective. So keeping that around is very good. Now, people are also sprinkling sea salt around their doors and windows. That is a great way of just keeping negative energy from entering your home. This is why you may have seen that in movies and TV shows when people are like beginning to cast spells. They will make a circle of salt around themselves before they will do any spell casting or anything like that. The reason for that is because the salt will drive away any negative spirits and won't let them come in. Now, a lot of times people will use black salt because they imagine that black salt is better protection. It doesn't make any difference. Okay, any type of salt can help protect you, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, something else that's really good too is that if you do feel like you have attracted something negative into your energy, I would really recommend that you take a bath in sea salt as a way of pulling that energy back away from your own system. That will really work really well. Another thing that I find really works is to have an attractor around you. Now, what that actually is that if you keep any water, I thought I brought, yes, if you have a bottle of water, or if you have just a glass of water, a lot of times what I do with my water bottles is that once I drink the water, I actually just fill them back up with water, and then if I'm going to do a reading, or if I'm going to do any type of classes or anything like that, I will open it and place it somewhere in the room. The reason for that is because energy can be attracted to water. So if you have any kind of concern about negative energy coming in to your environment, keeping an open bottle of water or an open container of water somewhere within that space is actually going to bring the energy to the water and not to yourself. Now, this is something really important to think about, and this is why it's really important to make sure that you're not carrying around negative energy, you're doing things to protect yourself, is because if we're saying that water itself is an attractor for energy, your body is mainly water. So guess what you're attracting? Okay, so you're attracting a lot of energy to yourself physically as well too. That's what all these other things that we are talking about is really good to have in your environment. All right, and also like we said, bottled water or open container of water, really good to help bring in that energy. Here, it's an attractor for energy, and it doesn't come to your physical self. All right. Another thing, of course, is there are particular crystals that can really help you. Black tourmaline. Oh, wait a minute. I picked up the wrong one. Black tourmaline is actually a very good crystal that can help keep negative energy away from you. The other thing that I would really suggest you get is a bar of selenite. Now, a bar of selenite is really wonderful because of the fact that this actually will draw the negative energy to itself. It's an amazing protector, an amazing healer. It really can charge up your other crystals as well too. So something I would suggest you do is keep some selenite around you, especially keep the selenite around your other crystals, because if your other crystals need a boost, or if they need to cleanse themselves, selenite is very good for doing that. Now, also keeping quartz crystal around you as well too. I'll make sure you see that better. So I have my quartz crystal here. I also have one right here. Again, very great protectors for you, and just a beautiful way of balancing your energy. Now, it's not that they're driving away negative energy, the quartz crystals. It's just that they're really good at balancing any energy that comes in. All right. Now, something else I would really, really stress to everybody as a way of protecting themselves, all right, is always make sure that you are physically taking care of yourself. Right? Make sure that you're exercising. Make sure that you are getting good food. Make sure that you are cleansing yourself. Make sure that you are getting really good sleep. Because what happens when we feel run down? What happens when we physically don't feel good? Well, emotionally, we don't feel good either. Right? Energetically, we don't feel good either. So by taking care of our basic physical needs really does help us open the door to taking care of ourselves energetically, spiritually as well too. So make sure that you are balancing work and playtime, which I know my friends are out there are going to tell me that's something I'm not always good about, because I'm into so many different projects. So that is something that I am really trying to do for myself right now, is balance my work and playtime. So do keep all of that in mind, everybody. Your physical health, physically taking care of yourself, doing self-care is a great way of keeping your energy clean and pure and getting away from any negative energy that may be trying to come in. Because I'm not saying that there isn't negative energy out there or negative spirits or something that can attach itself to you. It can. All right, but there are certain things that you can do to help yourself through these situations. I'll tell you a story about that in just a few minutes. Now, something else that you can do as well too. Sponges. This is kind of an odd thing to think about, but sponges actually soak up negative energy. So something that you can actually do for yourself is get some sponges, cut them into little pieces, and place them in different areas of your home. And especially if you know that someone's coming to your home that doesn't always have a lot of positive energy. All right, keep them around your home. Let the sponges soak up the negative energy that might be in your environment and in your space, and then once a week, rinse them out. And as you rinse them out, now this is really important because when we're talking about like the salt baths and things like that for you to think about, when you are rinsing out the sponges or you're letting the water go down the drain from a salt bath, imagine that your dark energy, any negative energy, is actually going down the drain with the water. In fact, if you ever really feel like you are carrying a lot of negative energy with you, just take a nice long shower and imagine that that water is carrying the negative energy right down the drain with the water. It will be very healing for you to actually do that. Same with your sponges. So once you rinse out the sponges, just leave them out to dry, and then when they're dry, put them back around your home again. That is a great way for you to dispel any of the negative energy that may be in your home. Now, something else I'm going to tell you about as well too, and this is something that I haven't tried myself. I have found out about it and I shared it with other people and they've tried it and it seems to really work. If you have a conflict with another person and you feel like this person is sending you a lot of bad energy, do not curse them. Do not try to send bad energy back to them. You're only going to make the situation worse, not for them but for yourself. Okay? But in order for you to block their energy, the best thing that you can do is get yourself a baggie, write their name down on a piece of paper, put that paper with their name on it in the baggie, and then just throw it in the freezer. Leave it on ice. It's the idea that you're putting their energy on ice. I've actually told everybody that I came across that idea, and I haven't had a reason to try it myself. Thank goodness. I haven't had a reason to try it myself. But I have mentioned it to several people who have tried it, and they said it works wonderfully. That once they put the person's name on ice in the freezer, they really haven't felt any negative energy from these people anymore. So I think that's a really great method because it's a way of not hurting another person. It's a way of not doing something of like cursing or hurt. I'm playing with my hair here. Not cursing or hurting another person. It's a way of just pushing their energy away from you that I think is really important to do. Now, one of the things that I was told though is that once you do that, leave it in the freezer. Don't think, oh, it's over with within a week and take it back out, because their energy then can start up again. So just always make sure, everybody, that you leave it in the freezer for just until you feel like you've made amends with this person. And that's something you always want to try and do, is try to make amends, try to work things out with people. All right? Okay, and kindness, always kindness. One of the best ways, of course, to dispel any negative energy is always going to be kindness and unconditional love. That's always very important. All right. Now, if you do have any questions, again, everybody, please leave comments for me. Share this video. Please subscribe, and we'll have more videos. And like I said, we'll do the next video on protection. I just felt like I had so much energy too, but so much information to give out to you. I decided to wait to do a protection video until the next time. So, I got that backwards. To do a grounding video the next time. This is our protection video. I made it this far, everybody, without making any slips up. So we're just going to kind of avoid, ignore that little slip there and keep moving on. Okay, so thank you, everybody, for watching these videos. I really appreciate your thoughts, your comments. I've had a lot of people asking about tarot cards. So we're going to have a class coming up very, very soon on tarot cards. So I'm really excited about doing that. But I do want to leave you with this story. I love telling ghost stories. I could sit up all night with people and just share these ghost stories, these amazing things that occur in our environment. I got this story to share with you because you know what we said? We said that, of course, these spirits can attract themselves to your energy. So these are things that you can do to protect yourself. All right? I got to tell you this really interesting story. I think I mentioned once before about how our massage room, when I was working as a massage therapist instructor at a community college, we had a lot of weird things happen in our massage room. I told a story about that once before. But it was really strange because of the fact that all these strange things are happening in our massage room, and we began to really realize there was a spirit or a ghost in the massage room. And this one day, I had one of my students come up to me, and he said, "Jamie, I think the ghost followed me home." And I'm like, "No, don't worry about it. You're safe. It's okay. I think the ghost is still here." And he's, no, Jane, he followed me home." I was like, "James, you're fine. You're okay. The spirit did not follow you home." "Yes, Jamie, I swear, he's in my house now." Okay. James graduated from the class about 2 months later. And after he graduated, we got to be really good friends. So this one day he called me and he said, "Jamie, you want to come over to my house and have lunch with me and help me study? Because I got this big job coming up interview, and can you help me with it?" "Sure, okay, not a problem." So I go over to his house, and we're sitting in his living room just talking, and he gets up and he goes, "Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start making lunch." He goes into the kitchen, and I'm still sitting in the living room. And all of a sudden, I just happened to glance down the hallway. And when I did, I saw this man walking out of his bathroom. And I can really describe the man. I saw him. He was walking out of the bathroom and down the hallway. And it was kind of a tall man. He was very broad. He had really big muscles, not like a big muscle, bodybuilder, but a lot of big muscles. And he actually was shirtless, and he had a towel wrapped around his waist. It was a striped, multicolored towel wrapped around his waist. I saw him come out of the bathroom, walk down the hallway, and then go into one of the back bedrooms. And I happened to say, "James, I'm so sorry, I didn't know you had company here." And he said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I didn't know you had somebody else here. I didn't know you had company. I just saw a man walk down your hallway. I didn't know you had company." And James just looked at me and he said, "Jamie, that was the ghost. I told you he followed me home." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I actually saw the spirit in his home," which was really odd because now that I think about it, the man that I saw in his apartment was very similar to what I was seeing in the massage room. And I was like, he did follow James home. But then what was so funny is about 3 weeks later, James called me again. And he said, "Hey, Jamie, I'm about to go to lunch at work. Do you want to come up and have lunch with me?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." So I go up to where James was working. He was working in the mall, and he was working at a scrubs shop. So it was a shop that just sold scrubs to nurses and doctors and massage therapists and so on. So I go into location. I go to the store, and he was the only one there. He was the only one working there. And he goes, okay, I can close the shop down in about 15 minutes. Let me go ahead and finish closing out the register and everything, and we'll go. Okay. So I'm standing at the counter talking to him, and all of a sudden I see this man coming up. And he passes by the counter, and I can feel him kind of like passing behind me. I can feel like his energy and so on as he walks behind me, and he goes to the back of the store. So James finished counting out the register, and he looks up at me, and he goes, okay, Jamie, we're ready to go now. And I was like, James, you can't leave yet. He's like, we're not. And I said, you got a customer in the back of the store. And he goes, no, I don't. I said, James, there is a customer in the back of the store. You can't leave yet. And he goes, no, Jamie, there's no one there. I said, James, I saw someone walk in. You know where this is going. James, of course, looks at me and says, Jamie, that was the ghost. He follows me to work, too. So I was like, oh, my gosh. All right. So, yes, you can attract entities to yourself. And so the things that we've been talking about is a way that you can protect yourself. Now, remember, a lot of these entities don't mean you harm. They're just attracted to your light. And that is one of the main things to really think about, is that you are in control of these spirits. You are in control of your own energy. You are in control of your own life. And you are in control of what you are attracting to you. One of the worst things people do is that they give up control to these other things in their life. All right? Don't give up control. You are the one in control. If you don't want entities around you, you have the right to say, leave me alone. Go away. Go to the light. Whatever you need to say. You have the right to say, not now. You need to go. All right? Don't give up your control. That's the number one thing that people do where they make a mistake, is that they can feel energy around them, and instead of taking control of the situation, they panic. They panic and they give over control. You are the one in control. If you don't want this entity, bad energy, negativity around you, you are the one who has to stop it. You are the one who has to say, go away. All right? And then use these things that we have talked about today in order to help move that energy and to protect yourself. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, everybody. It's always really fun getting together with you and talking to you about these things. Thank you for all your positive comments. It's been so great. People have been seeing my videos on Facebook and things like that, and the comments that I've been getting back have been incredibly encouraging. I really do appreciate that, everybody. That really means a lot to me. That also means that it really encourages me to keep going with these videos. And so, like we said, next time we meet, it's going to be about grounding. Then the time after that, we can get into a lot of different topics, what you want to talk about. We can talk about tarot, which I'm getting a lot of requests about. We can talk about dowsing, which is so incredible. That's using pendulums and dowsing rods and things like that, which is so much fun. We can talk about so many different things, everybody. And I'm also, again, lining up those interviews. I just wanted to get through everything about energy, about protection, about grounding, give you that solid foundation. And now we can go anywhere and do anything with this. All right? Thank you, everybody. Please stay in contact. I love you all. Take care, everybody. I'm so thankful for your support. And I love you guys. Take care. Until next time. Bye-bye.